Greetings, everybody. My name is Troy Bernier, and here we are again. This is MiSciFi 2025. It's hard to believe we're going into 2025, and it is the 12th year of this film festival. I want to thank everyone who's been out there rooting for us, following us, talking about us. It's all good. And this season is going to be just as good, and if not even better, than many of the other ones. This continuous iteration just gets better and better. Folks, we've got a lineup for you that's so impressive. It just makes me want to cry. But we'll refrain from that today. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the sci-fi world, what's going on in the film world. Okay. Um, as far as the sci-fi world is concerned, you remember our alumnus, Mr. Todd Chernowski. Todd Chernowski, who brought us some amazing Star Trek, Star Wars, sci-fi, fantastic jambalaya coming out of there in North America. And he's working on Lilo and Stitch. That's what's coming. And that's what's going to come to me. Well, they're going to talk about it at MiSciFi. We're not going to see the film, but he's going to talk about it. And he's going to show us maybe a thing or two. I don't know. But they're always surprises. Always surprises. So don't miss out. Be first in line. Okay? That'd be quite nice. Quite nice. In addition, we have with us today a film called 115 or 115. And it's a rom-com. It's a romantic comedy. But what makes this sci-fi film so special is that it's set in the 1980s. It's a retro sci-fi. It's done so well. I'm sure so many of us have watched and rewatched Back to the Future. It's like it has that feel. It has that 80s, 90s feel, folks. that vintage, vibrant color, great cast, awesome delivery and storyline. It just makes you want to watch it and rewatch it and watch it and rewatch it. It's that good. In the 1980s, alien Emily crash lands in Edmonton, Alberta, searching for the rare element 115, hint, hint, 115, to power her spacecraft. One of her mission leads her to JT, a curious local. Their partnership, that's the R in the com, blossoms into an unexpected romance. But when a reverse time loop threatens to trap them forever, Emily faces an impossible choice: return home or stay on Earth with JT. Now, for those out there that like JT, you're not going to want to miss this. It's a good film. And the wonderful things about it, they're coming to MiSciFi. They're coming. So not only you're going to watch the film and enjoy it and go crazy and nuts over it, but you're going to be able to huddle with them, break bread with them, have fun with them. What festival does that? No, not that many. This is what we have coming. This is what we have coming. So let's start out with the trailer. Let's dab into the trailer just a bit. Is that it? Bring it up. Bring it up.
Generating quantum tunnel. Quantum tunnel has collapsed. Temporal cycle has been reset.
Heading home?
I think I am home.
Transferring 311173 to container. Obtain water, plant, and human DNA to synthesize 115.
I feel like there's a connection between the two of us.
Ever since I met you, this whole day has been more drama in my entire life.
What's your problem? Watching me and JT kiss?
I'm tired of always doing the right thing, being the nice guy. Mom, no.
James Tiberius Burke! Just do what I tell you.
The planet I live on, we don't have love or jealousy. I can't take this anymore.
How do I know you?
I've met you 1,000 times.
You're on your own, I need a friend.
Tell me you don't love me.
I don't love you.
But wounds for life. The sun blinds you.
Exactly. And she's a cutie. Okay. It's a good film. The casting is so well done. We got to bring him on. We got to bring him on. Where is he? Where is he? Dave.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just so emotional.
Man,
Thank you.
that
Thank you.
was-
My assistant here. My assistant.
you know, honestly, Troy, the next movie is about you making a movie. Honestly, I want to give you money. You make the movie, and my movie is about you making the movie because you're more funny than anything. That was freaking hilarious. I
Oh
thought
man,
that
let
was
me tell
hilarious.
you.
Yeah,
Let me
I
tell you.
really enjoyed that.
First of all, thank you so much for coming, coming on board here, up there in Edmonton.
Yeah,
Folks,
yeah.
Edmonton is so far up,
yeah.
okay, on latitude, okay? It's where the numbers are like, is multiplied by 5 and all of that. Really big numbers, okay? It's probably dark already,
Yeah.
and it's nowhere
Yeah.
near midnight, but it's
Yeah.
dark already.
That's true.
And and it's polar temperatures. The
Oh,
polar
man.
bears come down you know,
Yeah,
because it's so
yeah,
cold.
yeah.
And you're dressed like Davy Crockett, man. You're
Hey, this is the local attire. If you want to fit in.
yeah, hey man, count me in. Count me in.
Look, we're sitting indoors. Everybody's got a toque on. Did you see that?
That's right. You're indoors. Everybody's wearing their clothes still. So
Yeah.
so is just cold in the building? What's up with the heat?
No, no, it's not cold. It's just people are here like that. They dress like it's winter inside outside. It's a
Wow.
fashion.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
It's a real
Almost Martian like environment, right? Martian summer.
what it is. We're ready to go. I mean, we've got harsh weather technology. We're ready.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if we go there, us Edmontonians would survive, no problem.
Right, 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 right. Wow. Well, listen, Dave. This is an amazing film that you made. Okay,
Hey,
it's
yeah,
fabulous, fantastic. The story is so fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun.
you could
Okay.
be my first starseed. I'll be honest, Troy. I'm looking for starseed. I think you are a starseed. You're my very first one. I'm looking for it. So that's
Looking for a star seed. Well, so in
yeah,
the context of of
uh-huh.
course, we're going to take up his offer about the film. Um,
Yeah,
we've talked about doing film,
yeah,
like this, like a Star Trek fan film, and
yep,
they're great places. They're places on this planet. They're places in North America
yeah,
that have Star Trek sets,
yeah.
and of course, it's a negotiation with them.
Well,
But yeah,
I
we could do such a thing.
the first thing that comes to my mind is I want to watch it. So I really want to watch a brand new 1960 TOS movie, right? Like that movie is actually made for me, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
because I'm still watching TOS in 2024, like it's still, and there must be other people like me because it's still on Netflix. Like it has never ever. I've never seen that little message that says leaving soon, only
Sure.
14 days. Like Star Trek TOS has been there since the inception till now because I've been watching it,
Right. Right.
and so I really do want to watch a brand new 1960s quality TOS movie. Now I've seen some of the ones online. The only problem is like it seems to me like the guys who have the money are in front of the camera, so like they're invested because they're actors or whatever, and they want to be in their movies that they
In
pay
some
for.
no, in some cases, but not in all those
Yeah.
cases.
Okay.
I
Well, I
give,
only seen one.
and of course, the dynamics of when a lot of these were produced has changed. But I'm
Right.
definitely going to give credit where credit is due. And prior to the darkness, when we didn't have a Star Trek for years, there were fan films that were produced, but the ones that were of high quality were
Right.
made by James Cawley. James Cawley out
Okay.
of New York State,
Yeah.
Ticonderoga area.
Yeah.
He has a warehouse and facilities. He produced Star Trek fan films, which
Right.
are viewable here on YouTube.
Right.
And many years into his reign, um, I was given this amazing opportunity to work with them and worked on a couple productions. One in
Yeah.
particular, I actually was selected to play in front of the camera too. I'm one of the cast members in the film. It's
Yeah.
called The Mind Sifter, and
I I see
yeah,
a movie already. I see a
yeah.
movie of me making a documentary about you making a Star Trek movie. I already see it.
Well, one thing is certain: it would be a huge effort to maintain the Roddenberry, the Roddenberry dynamics. His fundamentals, which is what makes Trek.
Yeah.
There's so
Well.
many new things that have popped up which deviate from those fundamentals, and it's actually difficult to explain to people why that's the case. Um, but I think because I think we really need to go back to these fundamentals
Yeah,
from a society standpoint, from an economic standpoint, and but once again, if if it's your money and it's your film, then you make what you want, right?
I do, and
And that's one of
I
the
that's
that's one of the nice things about fan films. You follow your
yep,
own story,
that's
and you
right,
create them within those
right,
fundamentals, and the
right,
fans like what you make. They like what
right.
you've made, and it works. But do also remember that you can't make any money
Yeah,
off of the fan films.
yeah. I'm not. I never had any intention to make money off this movie,
Right,
and that's to be decided. The next one.
right,
But
right.
like you told me to. I met you in Baltimore, Troy,
Yes.
and you gave me a yellow uniform, black pants that fit perfectly.
Yeah.
I and honestly, that was probably the most exciting part for me when you actually gave me the Star Trek uniform. Because I've always wanted to wear one, and
Wow. I
like
should
I
have brought my
swear to you,
tricorder. Matter of fact,
yeah,
where's
I
not the tricorder, the communicator.
yeah, like you know, if I knew that was gonna happen, I would play the role of Kirk the whole time.
Oh, there you go. Or at least captain of your own ship, right?
Yeah, right,
Because with
right.
us, it's not just that; it's captain of your own ship.
Yeah, I'll
Right?
play Sula's dad. Yeah. Oh my gosh, where'd you get that?
Yeah, it's one. I've got to replace the
Wow,
batteries in order to send the signal out. But yeah,
man, I want to use that for real.
yeah,
Like
and yeah, man.
amazing.
Yeah. So, tell us a little more about the film, man. Tell us a little more about why you made the film and 115 and
Sure.
why this
Okay.
happened.
Why did I make the film? Okay. Have you ever thought that you might be possibly living in some sort of video game, like this life that you have? Have you ever thought that?
Oh yeah, a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
things are bizarre. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So I came to conclusion it's possible that me and you are actually living in some sort of game, and we're playing a game. The only thing is sometimes we get hijacked because other people have games that are bigger than our game. Right? So if you're playing a global game, your game is, I don't know, global domination war, and so you get sucked in that game and you don't even know you're part of this game. And so
Mhm.
I came to this conclusion. Well, if I am in a game, well, what's my score?
What's your
And I
score
thought,
in the game? That's a good one. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, right. And I thought, shit, I think my score's pretty low. It's really low because I don't think I've done anything. I've just worked and slept and ate.
Hmm.
And then I came to the conclusion, well, how do you get points in this game? Because if my life is over, like let's say me and you die, and I see you in somewhere, and I say, "How'd you do?" They're like, "Man, my score is really low. All I did was I ate a bunch of Big Macs, I bought a bunch of cars, and my score is like, you know, I'm like the top. No, I'm the bottom 1%. So I thought, okay, if this is a game, how do I get a better score, right?
Yeah,
So then I came to the conclusion it's got to be something that's difficult. So
yeah,
what's difficult? Becoming a Navy SEAL,
yeah.
going to war, finishing a mission. Those are probably give you high scores.
Oh,
And
really?
but I'm yeah,
Why
and
do
then,
you why do you well, first of all, well, why do you think that allow me to stop you in some of
yeah,
these statements? Well, why do you think that's a high? Why is that a high score?
it's based on difficulty. The score of this game must be based on difficulty. That means if you achieve difficult tasks and you finished it, you get a high score. What's difficult? Probably saving somebody's life, going to war.
Right,
Those are difficult tasks because
right.
if you lose, you die, right? And so I wasn't willing to do that. So I came up with some other tasks that I thought were difficult that would give me a high
Sure.
score. And one of
Okay.
that was making a movie. Because I don't really have a background in movie. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm actually a nobody. I'm an outsider, right? And so I thought so if I am able to make a movie with no education, no history, no nothing, I should be able to get a high score, right? But what makes a successful movie? And so I came with some parameters. some metrics, right? One of the metrics was to win awards. It had to
Okay.
win a number of awards to mm, to cement its ability. Like it gives it a certain amount of legitimacy, right? So if you win, let's
Right.
say, enough awards of a certain type of festival, then it would give you a
Right.
certain amount of legitimacy, right? And so
Right.
those were metrics for me after making this movie
Right.
uh, to get me points in this game, and that's
Right.
the main reason why I made the movie. But that reason has completely changed now because that thinking was back in 2022. In
Right.
2024, right, the reason for this movie is completely different.
Right.
In 2024, I went to a UFO alien conference in Germany in the middle of the forest in a monastery called
Mhm.
an
Mhm.
ashram. Do you know what an ashram is?
No, I do not.
Okay, so this is very odd. An ashram is a East Indian monastery that East Indian people go there when they travel. They stay there overnight. They eat there
Hmm.
and they perform yoga and they meditate. Right
Sure. Okay.
now, my first question is why is there an ancient monastery in Germany in the middle of in the middle of the woods in the middle of nowhere?
Hmm.
So I found that strange. It's like, and so the guy who picked it, his name was Tim. He's the leader of this group. He picked it because it was the best place to see a UFO or summon a UFO, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And he said that the ancient lands in this area, in this forest, in this monastery,
Hmm.
you were able to see high strangeness. What's a high strangeness? An orb. You
A
can see
high
orb
what?
there.
High what?
High strangeness, like strange world. High strangeness, like strange things happen, right? Like all kinds of strange, weird things happening, noises, things. You get lost, portals. But we were interested in UFOs, right? And so you
Yeah.
had a good chance of seeing a UFO there, which would come in the form of an orb. So they changed the UFO to a UAP now, right? A
Well,
UAP is
why did they change into orbs?
no. I'm saying I use the old school terminology of UFO because I grew up with that.
Sure.
But now they call it a UAP, and the reason why they call it a UAP is because an orb is not necessarily a UFO because it's non-physical. An orb can go through you. It's like a ball of light or something, right? And so that's what we want to see. But so I went there and I met all these people, and there were 30 of them. The strange thing was a lot of them look exactly like me, which is very strange because I have something on which is called a poncho.
Were they wearing the same clothes?
Yeah, yeah. I met another guy who wore a poncho who looked just exactly like me, and I found it very strange. And then and more strange things came happen. So he went up there and he did some sort of regression where they put him under hypnosis and they asked him some questions. And then he said he was a cat. He had a tail. He had some hands that looked like a cat. And then after that, he got off, and I was shocked because a year ago, before I went to this meeting, I too went through a regression, and I too also said I had a tail, I had a cat, I had
Yeah.
fur everywhere,
Yeah.
and I blew it off. I thought this is kind of Mickey Mouse, it's regression, it's hypnosis. What does it really mean? But here's another person I meet that actually says the same thing as me. So then I got to know this guy. His
Yeah.
name is Arash. And I was like, well, let's see what this guy's all about. And he looked like a bum. He looked like he was homeless. Hasn't shaved for a couple of days. He's wearing a poncho exact like me, except his poncho was orange.
Sure.
And then guess what he does for a living? He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's a highly intelligent individual, man, with an extreme memory. He could remember things that are amazing. When he writes
Right.
me,
Right.
that's right. So then I thought, okay, this guy obviously is not crazy.
Yeah.
He's very intelligent, but yet he has the same experiences I did.
Yeah.
So then I came to the conclusion it is possible that me and him were star seeds. starseed is basically some sort of being that decides to inhabit this body of a human to have some sort of experience, right? Whatever that experience is, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
to bagel. Maybe I'm here to have a bagel and experience what it's like to be cold because I'm a cat. I like to eat meat. I have no idea. But I do know that the very start when I tried to make this movie, I had a lot of messages and ideas that were coming from me, from the ether, from the universe. It wasn't from
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And it kept telling me to make a movie something to make people awake. The initial name of this movie was called Awake, right?
Awake.
And
Okay.
Awake, right? So
Okay.
then it slowly changed, but now I've come to terms that the whole reason why I made this movie is actually to awaken star seeds. These are people that are like me and this guy named Arash that
Hmm.
came to Earth to have some experience, but we totally forgot that, and we need to be awakened. We need to be activated, and so that's why I made this movie. So the whole movie is actually for somebody to watch, and then it
Yeah.
resonates with them, and then they start researching it, and then they're like, maybe that's me, and that's the whole reason of this movie.
I don't really. I'm trying to figure out how to respond to that, but
Then now the reason why it's like that, Troy, if you watch my movie, the very first day you see a color screen. The color screen just represents the next day because I don't want to give the whole story away. But then the days 2 and 3, on the transition screen, it's a picture of an escape key, ESC, escape the cycle, which is this reincarnation cycle that I've been I don't know, been stuck in. That I've been reincarnating in human form over and over and over and over again.
yeah.
And so now that I know that I'm a starseed, I'm not coming back to Earth. I don't want to come back to Earth anymore. And that's the message of the movie. For certain people that are some sort of starseed, they recognize, like, they wake up, they're activated, they recognize they're not human anymore. And so now it's time for them to leave, right? How did they leave? They need to finish their mission. They came here to have a mission. My mission was to make this movie to activate them, and they have a mission themselves on to do something on this earth. And how many star seeds are there in this planet? I have no idea. Maybe 10, maybe 100. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I've never met one other than that guy I met in Germany, right?
Hmm. Yeah. You
But
you went to wait. It wasn't a sci-fi conference. Where did you go in
no.
Germany?
So it's called Paderborn. Paderborn is a small city, and then you drive probably an hour or 2 hours outside
Hmm.
into this forest.
Hmm.
And this whole town is weird because, to give you an idea, if you want a taxi, it takes a day or two. So I wanted a taxi to go to the airport, and I called on the day, and they wouldn't come. They said you have to book it a day or two ahead. And I was like, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that kind of puts
And I
a
told them,
problem
listen,
on things.
I'll pay money. Just drive out here. I mean, it's only an hour or something, right? And they
Yeah,
refused to do it.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
funny.
the
Wow.
name of the conference is called All Shift Happily Now. And
Oh,
it's
shit.
basically a group of people that are trying to shift the frequency of this planet into a happier state, into what they call fourth density or fifth density. And right now we're in some sort of third density. And so that's what those people are trying to do. And I've never met them before, but I was just
Why
curious
why
about
are
them
they trying to do this? A
because
happier. Why
they
do they want it to be happier? What's wrong with it now? It was
there's something
the music was happy previously. I don't
yeah,
understand.
there's something called a pole shift, and also a solar flare event that's coming up that's possibly like a Carrington event, and Dennis Quaid just talked about it. So this pole shift is
Who just
something
talked about it?
Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid,
Okay.
yeah.
Why
So
is
this
he talking about it? He's not an astrophysicist, is he?
no, but I would probably guess he probably thinks he's a star seed, and he might possibly is a star seed,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
And so the physics behind this change in density has to do with the pole shift, where the north becomes south and south becomes the north, right? When it does that, it causes uh, during that transition, during the
Right.
movement, it
Hmm.
causes an opening for solar flares to come into Earth, and these solar flares change the vibration of the Earth somehow, and then it vibrates a different frequency. This is all the metaphysical theory, what they're talking about.
Sure.
And and while this is physically happening, the humans on this planet have to be prepared for this shift
Yeah,
because they're
but how could people prepare when most people 95%? Well, let's just say North America. I can't talk about. We could talk about other parts of the world, and I can guarantee you they're not doing the same things we're doing.
yeah
you know, so
yeah
I don't
okay
understand how they're trying to change anything other than maybe
yeah
changing the group of people.
it it so the short answer is it's all mental. There's no physical. So like so these star seeds, it's all mental. What they do, they just all they do is they meditate, they create intentions, and that's how they try to change people or activate people or change the world. It's all metaphysical and it's nothing physical. And that's what they say, that's what they're doing, that's their intention, that's what that group is doing.
Inception.
Yes, yes. Create ideas, let the people know, research it, and the theory behind it, or not the theory, what they believe in is that every star seed can awaken 100,000, 700,000 people or something. Yeah, that's
Mhm,
what they say.
mhm, mhm. That's different. Um,
Yeah,
and but I can say that there was, I think when we had met in Baltimore during that
yeah,
time, there was a lot
yeah,
going on with the UAPs and
yeah,
UFOs, and
yeah,
it's gotten actually quite it's quieted down now. You hardly
yeah,
hear anything about it. Um, you know, for whatever those reasons are, probably because of nowadays it's more talking about politics and the economy.
right.
Um, but do you think that this film is going to have a influence that will change a lot of people? First they have to watch it, right? You have to have a
No,
lot
yeah,
of people watch the film.
yeah.
So
So I only have intentions, right? So the whole intention of the movie is it has to be entertaining first. If you watch it for purely for the entertainment purposes, then it has a chance to reach the audience I'm seeking, right? Because if certain people watch it and they say, "Hey, this is a good movie," why don't you go watch it? That's what I'm hoping for. And
sure.
then, then I benefit because possibly one of these people out of 100,000 or 1,000,000 people, they think it's them. Then they're awakened. Then the film works, right? But yeah, the film it basically is meant to be entertaining. So when you watched it,
Yeah.
I made it so it's entertaining, and I made it so it's entertaining according from my perception of what makes a movie entertaining. And what makes a movie for me that's entertaining is usually has to have surprises,
Right.
usually in the endings, like in the Sixth Sense, or like
Right.
any type of movie that has a very satisfying ending.
Right.
That was a requirement for the movie.
Right.
The second requirement is to imprint memories in your mind through music and frequency, right? And so I use a lot of music with visuals to create an emotion that, let's say you win
Yeah.
a race and you will always remember you won that race. Same thing if you
Yeah.
watch this movie, there's certain parts in this movie where you get euphoric or you feel very happy. It's meant to make an imprint, and then you remember the movie, not the whole
Sure.
movie, but you remember
Sure.
parts of the movie, right?
Sure.
And so those elements are all in there to make it a good movie to my perception. And going into this, um, that's what you got. You got a movie that's from a guy who didn't go to film school. that doesn't know what a narrative feature is. He just knows what a good movie is, and he never really understood what made a good movie, but he knows what a good movie is,
Right.
right? And so, like, like a lot of my friends, and now I understand it more clearly. If you watch Steven Spielberg movie, it's a good movie. But a lot of people thinking they watching like, well, there's nothing special about it. You're right. There's nothing special about it. It's not cut like a Ridley Scott movie where the cinematography and the details are different, right? But it's a good movie, and I lean to more towards that, like a Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg.
So okay, so I think there's one of your cast members sitting behind you. The lady
No,
behind you is one of no. Okay,
no, this is a coffee shop.
okay. No, she looked a lot like one of the. Anyway, um, you're right about people will say, well, yeah, what's the big deal about the movie? What's so special about the film? And people of and what I mean by that, people of this age, these what I would fall into the category new people, they're very transaction based. They won't interact unless they know they're going to gain or lose something. Um,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
won't
yeah,
continue the conversation unless they know they're going to gain or lose something.
yeah,
They become very petty. It's very petty.
yeah,
That it has to be transactional. Whereas prior to, I would say even 10 years ago,
yeah,
it was more what you would classify as original or more pure or
yeah. I
the reasonableness.
Yeah,
People. I don't even that. I would just downright and call it what it is. People were more civil. People were more civil, meaning
what,
that they was when I say civil, in other words, there was no the only gain was you know exchange, whether regardless of whether there was a gain or loss. There was no loss. There wasn't this need for an assessment, an economic assessment in that time that you spent outside of being yourself.
what
Whereas,
what is the percentage of people that you meet that are like that?
that are like that, as I
Yeah,
described,
yeah,
I want to say more than half.
yeah. So, like, my comment on that is there's a possibility that all those people, more than half, were hijacked into thinking that, and what they're acting
Oh yeah.
is not them true selves,
Yes.
right? And so
Yeah.
they've absorbed this ideology idea through either movies, the internet, hearing other people talk, listening to other people talk, and they think that's the way they should be. There's a good possibility that's not their true selves. And that's the problem we have right now. The
But
problem
how
we have right
long? But how long? When you say it's not their true selves, they
Yeah.
wake up being this, they go to sleep being this.
Yeah. The reason being is the true selves requires you to have no fear. You have no doubt. That means if I want to wear this headband on myself and I look funny and nobody here is wearing a headband, right? And I got a poncho here and nobody here is wearing a poncho, I have no fear. I have no doubt that it doesn't matter to me. This is just myself. I'm not trying to. I'm not looking around scanning what everybody else is wearing, right?
Hmm.
And the problem I think nowadays is possibly, and like I can't prove it. I want to say possible because I can't prove it. Is a lot of people nowadays, it's not their true selves because they look around what they see what other people are wearing. They look around see what other people are doing, and then if they do something, does it fit within that range, right? And that's what I see. I don't see anybody being themselves because my question is how is it possible in a 2 years time everybody's wearing black? What happened to all the people that used to like wearing yellow? What happened to all the people that used to like wearing red? Where did they go? Right? They just conform. They just wear black. Everybody here wears black. There's no other color that's
Sure.
available,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so how's that possible? How's that possible? Because when I grew up, people used to wear red. People used to wear yellow. Where did all those people go? Did they
Yeah.
change?
Yeah.
No. I just think they got hijacked. They still want to wear red. They still want to wear yellow. It's just they have been hijacked into thinking this is what they need to wear and this is what the in
Yeah,
color is.
but what you're also saying, and one thing that has happened during this time is that people are, they're all like this into their phones all the time.
That's
They're all
right.
in their phones.
That's
They
right.
they they become the tunnel vision is only about what's coming out of that box,
Yeah, that's right.
and very
That's true.
little. And some people, of course, are talking into the box
Yeah,
in the forms of typing, which are not really
yeah,
communicating. They're just
yeah,
they're just trying to communicate, but they're not really communicating.
yeah. And
Um,
you,
that's
you want to hear my
bizarre.
comment on that?
Yeah.
The humans have no chance. It's not their fault. It
Hmm.
is not their fault because you got to understand, as a corporation, let's say I'm Google, I am Motorola, right? I know what your weaknesses are. And your weakness is that you need a 5 second click, chime, whatever. And so this phone has changed into something that was made for us to be used, and now they're using us through the phone to get data to make us. We have to look at our phone, right? Because you got to understand, like we are some sort of biological monkey species, where if you put a banana in front of a monkey, the monkey eats a banana regardless if it's full or not, and it forgets what it's supposed to do. Those genetics are still in us, right? The
Hmm.
only difference is our banana is not a banana. Our banana is a phone, a car, a
Hmm.
piece of chocolate. And the
Hmm.
corporation industry have broken us down and know you so well,
Right.
right? You
Right.
stand no chance. There's nobody in this room here that stands any chance of being able to do anything, right? They they trick you into thinking that you have low willpower. That's a punch of baloney. You have limited willpower. Nobody has unlimited willpower, right? And so
Hmm.
your willpower will only last for an hour, 2 hours. But the
Hmm.
phone is on for 24 hours. The coffee shops are at every block or two, right? And so
Yeah.
a lot of this is not our fault. And so what happens now is we're connected and we're influenced by the industry more, right?
Yes. We're seeing, and what you just said is all currently playing out in the most global sense, at least as far as Western economies are concerned. When it comes to
Right,
food,
right.
it's almost impossible to eat anything other
Impossible.
than what
No.
they want you to eat,
Yeah, you
what
have no
they produce.
chance. No,
So
you have no
so many
chance.
people cannot grow their food. They don't have
No,
access
no,
to organically grown food. They're only
no.
fed
That's right.
this, whatever, and there's, of course, they're going to be, store A, store B, store three, all the way down to
Yeah,
many different varieties, and they're different variations of the
yeah.
synthetic compounds that are put in them, but
That's right.
almost overall, you can't get away from it.
No, no, you can't. You have no chance as soon as you walk into a restaurant,
Yeah.
into a coffee shop, into Walmart. Um, they've changed every single food that used to be good for you, or used to be average or minimal risk,
Right.
it
Right.
now into something that you cannot resist. You would have
Yeah. The,
you have almost zero chance of resisting,
yeah.
right?
There's
Like
now, what are they calling it? A lot of the foods have ingredients that are like the addiction. They make you an addict. Yeah, you smell the
yeah,
food. Yeah, you feel like that's the only thing you need to eat.
right. So there's something in our brain called the reptilian brain. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, that's part in
Yeah,
the hypothalamus, way on the back.
right, right. Part of the reptilian brain is it craves three things, which is sugar, oil, and something else. I forgot. Sugar, oil, and something. There's a third ingredient.
Yeah.
Salt. That's it. Yeah, sugar, oil, and salt. So if you take those, if you make any food that has those three ingredients, it's almost impossible for you to stop eating it. So
Right.
like salted chocolate or adding sugar to potato chips. No, potato chips used to never have sugar, and you have to look really hard to find a bag of potato chips that doesn't have sugar.
Wow.
Like Vicky's kettle potato chips original. That one doesn't have sugar, right? But if you buy any other brand, it has sugar. But
Wow.
and so They only added that because we have this reptilian brain. If the reptilian brain said that we need to have oil, sugar, and vinegar, they would use vinegar, right? They don't care about anything else, right? Their whole intention is to get these three ingredients so you can't stop eating,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so that's the problem we have, and all the industries know this. So if you
Right.
look closely at any type of food, and my best example is kimchi. I don't like
Okay.
kimchi. No,
I,
I
I
don't like
like
kimchi.
I like kimchi, but go on.
But one day my wife bought me some kimchi from somewhere, and I tried, and I couldn't stop eating it. I thought, man, this is the best kimchi ever.
The hotness of it, that hot
Well,
savory,
right.
salty flavor.
Well, then I looked at ingredients, and then I found it had corn syrup in it, which is the same ingredients
Oh,
as
why they put corn syrup in kimchi? You don't need to put corn syrup in kimchi.
because if you add corn syrup, oil, and salt, you can't stop eating it. It's impossible.
I
It's
I have
almost
to.
impossible.
I'll take a look at the ingredients, but when I used to feast when I was in grad school, my roommates and I used to feast on kimchi. We would buy, we'd all go shopping together because you're saving
Yeah,
money by going
yeah, yeah,
together. And we
yeah,
go to this Asian food store, and the lady, she used to make the kimchi. She knew we were coming. We're like, yeah, we'll
yeah,
be here next week. Good.
yeah,
I'm gonna have a big tub of kimchi
yeah,
just for you.
yeah,
And
yeah. Wow.
we'd go for, and we eat this stuff by it would come in a, something like this, and
Yeah.
we finish this in one sitting because we're just
Let's see.
getting mouth ulcers. We're eating it. It's so hot, we're getting mouth ulcers
You see.
and watching the ball game. Okay.
Okay. Well, see. I love those stories. The problem we have is these industries. They take that kimchi that was already really really good, and they add a couple more ingredients to it that makes it impossible for you to stop.
To stop eating it. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and you're like, why did they do that? you know,
Money.
they just don't want. Honestly, they just don't want you to stop eating.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to sell you a bag of chips and you're full.
Yeah.
They want to sell you a bag of chips and you want to keep eating it, right?
Wow. 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 So what else are we gonna talk about, Dave? Because I wanted to talk a little more about the film, but you kind of
Sure.
talked about the film in a different direction. You know, the
We can
mere
talk about
fact that
film. Yeah.
the
Let
mere
you know
fact
what?
that the film
Let
has been edited
I,
in
I'm
reverse.
yeah. I think it's good to talk about the film for other filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers that want to make a movie,
Yeah.
right? Because I think I can offer the most use of my experience in making this movie, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, any aspiring filmmaker, I, my comment is people get stuck into this perception, and I had it on my set. The perception is the gold standard is Stanley Kubrick, right? And everybody I met was like Stanley Kubrick on my film, meaning like
Right.
everything had meaning, everything had intention, the details meant everything, and you must control every single detail to get a masterpiece, right?
Right. Right.
And I'm saying that is not the only possibility. I would probably argue that if you did that, you would end up with a worse movie, right? Because the fact that Stanley Kubrick did it doesn't mean that you can do it.
That's right.
Okay, okay. Don't misunderstand somebody that can do something and you like, I'm going to do the same thing.
Right.
Now, many things in life, you may set an intention, you
Hmm.
go do it, but you get stuck with all these minor details
Hmm.
and trying to control these minor details, and you never get it done, right? Because the universe is kind of like, let's say if your intention was to make a good movie, the universe is going to give you a good movie, but you're stuck in making this movie about the lead cast member is a boy.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a good story. Here's a good story. I have a friend. He's a producer. He made a horror movie in Canada, and he was set to shoot and everything. And then the lead actress is from Los Angeles. She showed up uh, day before shooting, start shooting, and she hid the fact that she broke her leg.
How in the anyway?
So she was limping because she didn't want to lose the job and she really wanted to be in the movie. And so they figured out she actually broke her leg within a couple of days, and then they
Yeah,
panicked.
yeah.
So they immediately found another girl and they used that girl and they finished the film. And the film is technically very good, but if you watch it, it's not very good because it lacks the soul and the spirit. It just doesn't have that magic quality that you want to continue
Mm,
watching.
mm,
And my argument in this scenario is that lead actress should have been in a wheelchair, and you would incorporate that wheelchair role into the movie, and you would have had a
right,
great movie,
right,
right? Because
right.
it's a horror movie, and if your lead actress is in a wheelchair, I think it would make it better. And the universe is trying to tell you that, but you get
Yeah.
stuck in these details, and you get stuck into this rigid formula that you've created on the script that it has to translate exactly on the screen, and it doesn't turn out well, right?
Hmm, hmm.
And so my comment is sometimes when you're making movies, certain things happen because they were meant to happen. They were supposed to happen, and you have to learn to see the signs that they're meant to happen, that they were trying to tell you something,
Yeah,
right? And so, like my movie when we started, JT was actually supposed to be the star. J,
yeah. That's
the
right.
whole movie was actually about JT, but and it actually the script was completely different. It was actually about him having dreams, and the girl Emily came from a dream reality. She wasn't an alien. She came from a dream reality and became physical,
Yeah.
right? And the original story was actually 3.5 hours, and I still have it.
I'm
It
gonna
was
put some
complete,
photos. I'm gonna put some photos up here while we're talking.
right? But that story didn't work. So when you watched it, right? When you watched it, you're like, this doesn't work,
Yeah,
right? And so you could either try to reshoot it or whatever and make it the movie that you want,
yeah,
right? But in reality, that's not the movie. The reality is the movie is about the girl, Emily. And she's just more better, right? And the
yeah,
movie wasn't about the dream. The movie was kind of about well, who is she? Where did she come from? What is she? And that's what we changed. And so the whole story is completely changed, right? And
wow.
and because we changed it, when you watch it, you liked it. And to tell you and tell all these filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers that want to make a movie, this movie was made 3 years ago. It was supposed to be done 3 years ago, but what happened was after when I watched it, it was so bad I got
Yeah,
depressed. So for a year, I didn't work on it. I, I didn't work on it. I literally thought, what do I have here? Like it's a disaster, right? And some of the problems that we had with this movie, the first thing was it was supposed to be a romance comedy,
yeah.
but when I watched it, I was like, it's not funny. I said it's not funny. So you know what? Take out the romance. I mean, take out the comedy. We'll leave the romance part and we'll recategorize it as science fiction, right? And when I recategorized it that, then it worked because people weren't expecting it to be funny, right? And
Yes,
so,
I know how
and so
that
my
goes.
yeah, and so what I'm trying to say is sometimes the universe is giving what you want. You have exactly what you want. It just some of us need to see that and accept it and trust it. Let go of our ego. Let go of this thing that we think we're Stanley Kubrick or God or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and trust the system. Trust what the universe is trying to give you, right? And then what you get is what you see here that you saw this movie, right? It's
Hmm.
it's um, it's something different. It's unique, right? And we didn't, and uh, if you if you saw the script, and I have a lot of people that are aspiring screenwriters, so I give them the script to read, and they read
Hmm.
it, and then after they watch the movie, they're confused because they're like it's backwards, right?
Right, right.
But and these are some of the techniques you can use in editing room where you hear all these stories, like Star Wars, wasn't very good until they edited. Right. Same thing with this movie. Editing changed this movie completely to something else. And the whole thing backwards is because I found it more interesting. And I think one of your questions here is why would you go watch this movie? Right?
Yes, that's a
Right.
that's
Right.
one of that's the main question, really.
Right. So my answer, why would you want to watch this movie? You want to watch this movie because potentially this movie will have a lingering effect on you, where it makes you think and it challenges you. Because if you watch a movie backwards, your brain does not accept it, man. Your brain is just like, I don't like this. I don't like this going backwards. I think we should go forward. Somebody, somebody needs. Actually, you know what? You know what's funny, Troy? I had
Yeah.
a focus group and I played it for somebody, and somebody on the comments like, the editor made a mistake. These pieces are in the wrong order. They need to put it back in the right order.
You see that? You see that? You see that? And
So
that's like when I first saw the film.
yeah,
Because when we watch the film, we don't give out too much of the way we do things because it's actually a trade
right.
secret. But I can say when I watch the film, I'm prepared to take notes and give you feedback about your film. At least give feedback, whereas notes just in case if there's a discussion about the film later on, we have can prove that we read the film and we saw the film and we even made notes about the film or what needs to happen with the film. And I'm like, wait a second, something's wrong. This is out of sync. This is so I start playing with the thing on the bottom and I go back and I'm like, wait a second, this is intended to be like this.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. You know why? So Troy, you know why I made it backwards, Troy?
Why'd you make it backwards?
Because I like being challenged, man. It doesn't make any sense to me if I give you a cup and I tell you it's a cup, or I give you a box and I tell you it's a tricorder. I like it better when I give you a tricorder and I don't tell you anything, and you just like you're just so confused, and you have to figure it out. Like I enjoy that more than watching a simple movie. So I took
Right,
something that's very simple
right, right.
and I just made it very confusing by making it backwards, and it's very challenging to watch the movie. But to me, I'd rather watch that than something, let's say, I don't know, Sailor Moon or something. It doesn't make any sense to watch Sailor Moon. But if you put Sailor Moon backwards, then I'd be
Yeah,
like, wait a minute, how
yeah,
do how do we figure this out?
yeah. Wow,
And so
wow.
that was my solution for why this movie was boring or wasn't good. I was like, let's just make it backwards because it's too boring.
Yeah, wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
So what other festivals have you gone to since we met in Baltimore? Have you been to anything else or what
Yeah,
happened?
I've been to film festivals. Like they're all different. So the
Yeah.
memorable festivals I went to are San Francisco International New Concept Festival,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
yeah, so that was in San Francisco, and there's like 1,200 people there, and I
Wow.
don't know anything. The people, you go to these big festivals, they have a flag, eh? And the
They have a
flag
what?
basis, they have a flag. Like there's like four people standing with flags around each
Yeah.
person with a flag. It's like a parade.
Yeah.
And each flag says like filmmakers or like guests or something, right? So I didn't
Wow.
know where to go, and I went stood at the flag, and then they call your name. Yeah, it's very odd. So then they say like, let's say they say Troy Bernier's movie Star Trek Stranger World, right? Your
Yeah.
whole group walks up to this red carpet thing. You walk down, but and then when I found I was supposed to do it, I didn't want to do it because I thought it was embarrassing. I was like, I don't want to do this. This is horrible.
Oh.
I didn't think it was gonna be like this. And then so they call my name, and then I'm with my wife, my two kids,
Right.
my niece, and her boyfriend. So I look
Right.
like
Right.
a family going shopping, man. Like I don't look interesting. I don't got no fancy clothes. I go on the red carpet. Nobody takes any pictures of me. I just walk the damn thing really quickly, get into the theater, and then that's the show. And then I go to something like New York,
Yeah.
not New York, to Los Angeles called Culver City
Culver
Film
City.
Festival. Yeah, and there really felt like I was in the industry. Like these people are really in the industry. These people are taking drugs, having lots of sex, and just looking funny.
How does that mean? What? How does that tell you that they're in the industry if they're doing that?
Because they all look the same. It was like a very
Clones.
uniform group. It was a very uniform group, and they all like fit in, right?
Hmm.
And like I fit in. I look like the part. I talk the part. The only thing is I don't do the drugs and I don't have the sex, right? But and then I realized like that's the industry. It's kind of like a lifestyle thing.
Sure,
Like it is acting, but there's
sure.
also a certain lifestyle to it, and they all kind of fit in, right? And so uh, it kind of confirmed what I thought about
Right,
you know
right.
Los Angeles and stuff like that. And yeah, and and now your festival coming up, man. The rest of the festivals they weren't big, so I never really went to them. A lot of them were like monthly, and very few of them, extremely few, have live screening. Maybe one or two, maybe three. Like
Have a
even if
live screening?
yeah, like very few of them have it. So like only two festivals I've been to have live screening, which is the Culver City and
You
Orlando.
mean
It's
when you
called
say live screening? You mean in a movie theater, in a
yeah,
movie house where you got seats
yes,
and people projecting? You know.
yes, yes.
So
And
what were
and
they?
what do you mean? What were they?
If they weren't that, what were they?
If they weren't that,
Yeah, if they didn't screen your film, if it wasn't a place that screened your film, like for example, Baltimore, it was his first year. It was a small venue.
oh,
They
it's
screened your film.
online. It's online. So like the on. So like let's say the San Francisco festival, it would have 1,200 people there for the ceremony. That whole festival is online. That means like you watch movies online. Then after that, you go to the ceremony, right? So there was really no screening.
I don't understand that. 1,200 people went for that.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason why they went to that, Troy, I feel like a lot of them were there because of the history, because that festival has been around for like 12 years or something,
Yeah,
right?
San Francisco. I actually was speaking to someone from San Francisco Film Festival
Yeah,
that they are becoming part of MiSciFi, not becoming, but it's the New York Film Academy, and we asked them to, hey, why don't you all, come and check us out, and be, partner with us for some of our stuff.
well,
And the- and one of the persons that I spoke to over there, they were part of that festival for quite a while, and I can tell you, it's a famous event.
yeah. Well, now the reason why I don't think they have live screening is because the two live screens I went to, there was nobody there. So the first one in Orlando was in like a theater, a real theater, and there was nobody in the theater. Like I'm the only one. The second festival in Culver City, there was only four people in the theater. That was me and then three other people, right? And so you have, if you choose to have a live screening, who's going to go to these screenings? It's very difficult. And the one thing I've learned, right, as a first-time filmmaker, is it's easier to get people in the seats if you have a star, right? If even if you have a very good movie, right, with no stars, it's difficult to convince people to go in the theater and watch it,
That
right?
is correct. That is
Right.
correct.
And so and for people like me and people like me, you can't afford a movie star. A movie star, it costs 100,000, a million, possibly, right? But that's what it takes to put people in the seats. Without those people, nobody goes to these festivals. Now, my sci-fi is completely different because it is a genre that has a higher fan
Yeah, appreciation. Yes,
appreciation, right?
and that's the difference. Okay, so
Yeah, that's the difference.
that as well as horror. Okay, where
Yeah,
sci-fi and horror sit on, to me, they fit on the same spectrum, but they're opposites. But
right,
they're opposites. So
right.
horror is fear. Sci-fi is hope. When you get them together, right? When they overlap, that's Alien. That's the Alien franchise, which is why sci-fi horror does so well, because it
Yeah,
brings people from both ends of the spectrum. Because some people can't stand horror, Some people can't stand science fiction, right? But when you put them together, you get the double. You get a trifecta. Actually, you get a trifecta. The amount of energy, there's enough energy in it, it goes to the top, and you get the most number of people possible. And that's the reason why you have certain sci-fi thrillers or sci-fi horrors that are franchises. Alien, Terminator. I'm probably leaving out a couple. Even Batman, which is kind of a science fiction, but it's kind of a thriller mystery because they're always trying to solve something, right? And that's the part of the Marvel comic book genre. It's somewhere floating within this. It's this fantasy sci-fi, but it has this thriller crime element or apocalyptic element to it. So it's able to capture such a large mass of people without too much cerebral activity going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the benefit of having a genre festival.
Yeah.
In MiSciFi's case,
Yeah.
MiSciFi being a sci-fi festival, we call ourselves a sci-fi festival, but since our inception, we've always had horror in the program because we didn't know. We said, well, let's let's just accept all fantastic elements because we didn't know if we were going to get anything, right? But and now that we have an overwhelming amount of science fiction, we also have some of the best horror that's made, and we refuse to let go of them
Yeah.
because they show up. It's really
Yeah.
good stuff. It's really
Yeah.
crazy. It drives
I
me nuts because I'm scared as
yeah.
hell of watching this stuff.
Yeah.
But
My interpretation of that is that's the universe talking to you. They're trying. It's saying you want a successful festival. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. And
yeah,
here's some horror genre.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, um, you're not gonna have just four people in the theater at Macy Fee. I
Probably
could tell you
not.
that. I could tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I already got 3 coming.
yeah, there you go. So the fix is in. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but I can definitely agree with you. It is extremely difficult. Miami is an incredibly challenging market. There are certain parts of the city people just don't go to because it's too expensive to go there.
Right.
Right after the pandemic, actually during the pandemic, because we had our first event at the end of the pandemic, which there is no end, but that was 2 years ago.
Has been that
Okay.
long, eh?
Yeah. And I was scared to death. I was scared. I was so scared. I never came out of the booth. Well, actually, I did come out of the booth, the
What were you
video
scared of?
projection booth. I didn't want to get COVID. So because
Oh,
people were dying in mass in Florida.
they
A lot of
were?
people. I knew people who died. Yes.
Really?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The damn,
That's terrible.
so it was a fearful moment to have this physical event. We had nothing going on. You just showed up, and that was it. And I'm up in the
Yeah.
booth 90% of the time. Didn't come
Mhm.
down. I only was down in the beginning, and I'd come down and introduce the films. We didn't have any socialization. Okay, and we did quick, quick with the awards. See you out of here. And I never took my mask off. Oh God, I didn't take my mask off. Only took it off to put the microphone there to talk. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh
But you
yeah.
still did it.
Yeah, oh yeah, 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 man. Are you kidding? When the pandemic was, here's something funny, okay? And this is no disrespect to people who lost family and
Yeah.
friends. No way, because I that's not what we're about. But
Hmm.
when when the pandemic happened, when it first started, that was the February, and it happened in Boston. I was in Boston 2 weeks prior at the Boston Sci-Fi Fest.
Yeah.
It was a weekend. I missed
Yeah.
it the weekend that the virus came into the city.
Yeah.
When I came into the city, That's when a massive medical conference was taking place because they were on the same plane as I was on, and they're like, "Yeah, we're getting ready to come to this event. We're just coming a couple days prior." Oh, that's so nice. I'm freezing to death because Boston is an ice cube, and it was in February, and nice event. Boston, I highly recommend it. Make sure your film goes there. Get on the
Yeah,
plane and come home. That following week, all hell breaks loose in Boston. Okay,
yeah.
and a month after that, we're doing Misi Fee, and I'm
Uh
thinking,
huh.
oh my goodness, what's gonna happen?
Uh huh.
We're talking to the venue. Is anybody
Yeah.
canceling? And I'm talking to the rest of the team,
Yeah.
and because we normally like to have food at the festival for people to eat and so forth.
Right. Right.
And we're like, well, here's what we're gonna do because we gotta feed people. The venue's
Right.
far from the food, and we
Right.
like to have food on site. And like, oh,
Right.
don't worry, we'll have this big giant crock pot, and we'll just feed them gruel. Have it boiling over with bread. They can't get sick from that crap. You know, so, we'll wear gloves. Everything will be all right, and we'll have our
Uh huh.
mask
Uh
and
huh.
all of this. And it didn't happen, but it almost did.
Uh
We
huh.
almost put it on with the pot of gruel. You know, this muck brewing over,
Man, I
and
would have
but
filmed that.
I'm
I would
sure a
have
lot
loved
of
to
people
film
would have,
that. Yeah.
but it's damn sure would have been a given. A whole lot of people would have died, and it'd been our fault, and that's something we would not accept. So the venue itself was so gracious to us that they said, "Don't worry about it. Everybody's canceling any damn way." And that was the end of it. And we got. I said, "Look, keep $500 of the money, and we'll just leave it as that." So but it almost happened. We almost had the event right at the beginning of this horrific biological thing that took place. So
Well, I'm glad it's over. I really want to go back to the way it used to be, and I'm glad that's
I
over.
I I very much do too. But my biggest concern, right now, the norovirus is ramped up. The
What is that?
flu. The norovirus is something that people get when they're on these cruise ships.
Uh
It
huh.
gives them incredible
Oh, right.
bouts
I heard of that. I heard of that.
bowel
Yeah.
movement activity. It's
Right.
it's
Right.
very, very bad, and
Right. And then
supposedly
they
it's
they
picked
gotta
up.
quarantine the whole ship or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's highly
Yeah.
contagious. And when you're
Right.
on a ship,
Right.
everybody's
Right.
sharing each other's germs. And when you're on a ship,
Right. Right.
you really get to know your neighbors. And so it's a very challenging situation. Not to mention, COVID is still out here. So many people are getting it. I don't understand what they're doing, but so many people are still getting COVID. So many people are now getting the flu because it is flu season.
Yeah.
And now we have a norovirus. Oh, and there's one more thing. There's a bird that's coughing, a bird flu. So, um, you know,
I
I can tell
man,
you
I
one
hate.
thing. I think when we went, we had dinner once or twice, and I think, did you tell me you're vegetarian, or we had to
Yeah.
talk about being
I'm
vegetarian?
vegetarian. Yep.
I
Yep.
totally get that now, and I'm
Why?
probably going to slowly become. Of course, it's not that easy. You need to have the right protein and options. You know, but I want to be more vegetarian than ever before now because of all
What?
these
What?
decisions.
Yeah. And I want to state that like I like eating live vegetables or fruits because I really feel like the food that's packaged is no longer the food that we grew up with. They've been changed or something.
Yeah,
And there's too many chemicals in there. It's way too much processed.
yeah,
And I'm trying to eat things that are just more pure.
yeah.
If I'm gonna eat meat, I want it straight from like the cow, not something that's been uh, added with a bunch of stuff, and you get something called a McChicken burger.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so that
that's
that was the
that's
reasoning.
and that's also, what you say is also part of it because what's happening with that, hold on a second, I'm going to do something here real quick. Let me see if we can do this. uh, Instagram. Let's see. Let's see. Browsing, spam session account. MiSciFi 2025 live. So we're gonna go to Instagram. Um, we'll see if we can go to Instagram. Um, Stream key, copy. Okay, we're on Instagram and connect to streaming. There it is. We're live on Instagram. Go live. We're live on Instagram.
It's great. It's exciting. I've never been live with anything, so
You've
this is
never been
all
live with anything.
no, no. I
well,
this is
well,
all
you're
this,
live today,
this
buddy.
is all new to me,
Yeah.
and so I say yes to everything, and I find it
Hi, Cameron.
it's it was meant to happen. And when certain people,
Right.
when I meet certain people like you,
Right.
and we talk and we
Right.
connect,
Right.
it has meaning to me, and so I just do it, and it'd be foolish for me not to do any of this.
Right.
And then it goes back to what with the first question that you asked me in Baltimore was
Right.
like why did you make this movie? And I was I came with a silly answer like why would you make a movie?
Yeah.
Because like all the other alternatives we have, this doesn't come close to this at all. And we don't have a
Right.
lot of options. It's like
Right.
we all want to make movies. We um, it's that feeling that you don't fit where you are. I don't know if you ever had
Right.
that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. We get plenty of that.
Yeah.
We get plenty of that takes place, but you don't let it. You don't let it really. You don't let it really bring you down. You just have to.
No.
You face up to the fact that you're different. Okay.
Yeah.
You're more of a leader than a follower. That's what that initially means.
Yeah.
But of course, being just different means that you're you're into things, whether those things are at a higher order or a lower order, um, but it's not the same, and that's okay. That's okay. That's like being a
Totally.
filmmaker. You're good in some parts of making a film. In other parts of making a film, you need to hire somebody else to
Did
help you
you
make
like
your
being a
film.
filmmaker?
I had a
Did you
really
like
good
it?
time. Yeah, I had a really
Yeah.
good time. But
Tell
guess
tell me
what?
why.
But guess what? I
What?
was at I think at my best. At my best, I was, yes, don't get me wrong. I was an actor, but at the in addition to that process, in addition to that process, the best work I did was production. I'm sorry, was being a producer. So finding the locations, getting the deals where we could have all of this. These films would not have been worth a damn if we couldn't have had the locations that we were able to get access to.
You're totally a producer. I
Yeah.
think you're totally a producer because when I see you, you seem to know a lot of people, and you seem to know a lot of technical. You have the ability to answer questions.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like if I ask
Yeah.
you a question, you have that ability to
Yeah.
give me an answer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that context, how did that happen? You don't want to know how that happened? Well,
How?
I used to run a company,
Uh huh.
right? I was CEO of a company. And when
Which
you're
one?
CEO of the company, I was IT. I
Uh huh.
was in information technology.
Uh
So
huh.
when you're in information technology, Riley, you sleeping? Yeah, she's sleeping. I gotta answer this. But when you're in information technology, you're dealing with all kind of customers. Riley,
Right.
come, come, talk to mommy. So
So,
so
so
what
Troy.
happens with that? What happens with that is you're dealing with you're dealing with people skills of how to read people, more importantly, how to communicate with people, how to ask for something. You know, no is unacceptable in business. It's got to
How
be
do you deal
yes.
with problems, Troy?
There are two
How do you
ways of
deal with
dealing with
problems?
problems.
Yeah, I want to
Okay,
know how you deal with it.
there are two ways of dealing with problems.
Yeah,
The one way, well, actually, there's three ways. One way is you just turn it down and walk away, and you don't do it. The other way is you find another way to get it done, to accomplish that goal, and that could put you in trouble because you may bend rules to try to get that done.
do you have any stories about
Oh,
filmmaking and all problems you encountered?
say that one more time. I have what?
Do you have any stories about filmmaking and all the problems you had?
Well, you saw Journey to Planet X.
Yeah,
Journey to Planet X answers a lot
yeah,
of. Actually, it didn't answer. It
yeah,
didn't answer. It didn't
yeah.
answer. It just showed.
It was
It showed it
entertaining.
work. It yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It showed it. It showed the part of the process, but it didn't tell you the
yeah,
how and whys.
yeah, yeah,
Right? It didn't tell you the hows. So it didn't
yeah.
tell you how I got into that freezer. It just showed me getting into the freezer.
How did
But it
you get
didn't.
in the freezer?
Well, it's because I had an IT company. In my IT company, I had clients that knew the people that ran those operations. And
I thought it
and,
was
and
amazing. You could, yeah, you pulled that off somehow, and like I'm assuming for very little money or no money, zero,
zero
right?
money,
Yeah. See, that's the produce.
$0.
That is the producer talent.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Where you get it done. It's do understand that when you're talking about a million or millions of dollars, zero is still $10,000. It's zero and 10,000 is the same number when you're talking about millions.
yeah. Right.
Always remember that. Yeah,
Right.
because when you're looking at the scale, and a million's over here and zeros over here,
Mhm.
10,000, you can't even see it move.
Mhm.
Right, right. That's part of the magic. That's part of the movie
Right.
magic. So
Right.
and what equates to 10,000 is a perception. So you could have something that someone may perceive as $10,000, and it cost you nothing. It didn't cost you anything. You had it in inventory, or
Right.
it's easy to just pull out of a bag, right? So for us, me being the interdisciplinary, the math guy, many different sciences, chemistry, physics, geology, engineering, IT, programming, coding, website design, hosting, fixing computers, desktop, networks, right? Being the academic, I'm a college professor, right? Being the former federal organization, right? Being the international, lived and worked all over the Atlantic perimeter meaning Atlantic Ocean, all sides of the Atlantic, been over there or most of it. Know everybody. Multiple languages: English, Spanish, German, Italian, French. Okay?
Troy, I
Understand?
really think you could be a starseed man. You could be the guy I'm looking for.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that I do have a roster. I've done a lot of things. I've done things that most human beings will never, ever, ever
Well,
do or
see my argument is, Troy,
yeah.
there is no way that you can do all this on your first try at being a human.
At being a human. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
there's no way.
Humanity, the stars are better off without us. Listen,
You
um,
you must have come here many, 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 many times, like myself, to have these talents, to have these experiences, to have this confidence, to have this knowledge that should not be there. It's impossible. I argue it's impossible to send anybody that's new to Earth to have the same ability as you, right? And that's my argument. Like you must have done this before. There must be some sort of residual information or knowledge or something because it doesn't. Think about it. As how come you're so far advanced compared to everybody else? How is that possible? How is that possible? It's not
I did
school.
it, but it's all linear. I did it. I did it in that timeline, along the timeline. I didn't jump. I didn't jump and go back and forth.
No, no,
I,
no. What I'm saying is, you must have come. Let's say you lived a previous life as somebody else. You did that, then you did it again. You did it again. You did it again,
right.
and then this time you came back as Troy. Right? This lifetime is called Troy. Right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm, mhm.
this lifetime is not the very first lifetime you lived here on Earth. Is my argument. You must have lived on Earth many, 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 many times, just like me, just like other people.
Yeah,
Because
but what happened if as a young lad, right, teenager, you were given a second chance? In other words, your time was up and you were given a second chance because that
what happened?
whatever told you that, we want you to do something else.
What happened? Tell me what happened.
Well, I had appendicitis. I wasn't supposed to live.
Right?
I had appendicitis. I wasn't supposed to live. It exploded in me. You're from the medical field. What happens
Yep.
then when your appendix explodes in you a day after? What happens after that?
Well, you get probably systemic infection, which is very serious, probably fatal.
Didn't happen to me. I
Yeah.
walked into the hospital. I walked into the hospital,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget them asking me, "Do you want to take a shower? You want to bathe before we start operating?" And I was like, "No, no." And I just went in there and woke up with all these tubes coming out of my ass.
You see, I don't think it's a second chance, man. I see it totally different. I see it meaning that you were actually a star seed and you have not accomplished your mission, and therefore we cannot let you die. Right? Is my argument. It's something different, right? That means that you have a mission here. Your mission is not done. Therefore, you can't die. There's no way you can die.
Wow. Well, I won't test it. I won't tempt it. I've done enough what you call rodeo cowboy maverick stuff, planetary madness, and I'm 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 trying to do different things now. I don't
What
want
are you
to.
trying to do?
I don't want to change the timeline anymore. I've changed
Yeah,
enough of it. I've changed enough of it. Journey to
yeah,
Planet X changed enough of it, and I think it made the Earth a better place
yeah.
because it definitely changed the timeline. Journey to Planet X has changed the timeline,
Are you
and there are a
talking
lot of
seriously?
yes,
You
and there are a
believe in
lot of
timelines?
people, who don't like that.
Do you believe in timelines?
Yeah, we're living in one.
Yeah, I believe in it. I believe you can shift your timelines. I've
I
had many
believe I
dreams.
I I I am 100% certain that I
Yeah,
have impacted the timeline and touched so many people on this planet because of that film. There's no doubt
right,
in my mind.
right.
And surprisingly, you can't see the film anymore.
Why?
I'm not the right holder of it. I don't hold the rights to it.
Who has rights?
The producers that produced it.
Uh huh. And what do they do with it?
It's shelved.
Why?
You ask me. I thought we were in this to make some money.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So you mean you can't watch it anywhere? It's
Oh, I
impossible.
can I can watch it. No, you can't watch it anywhere. Matter of fact, no, you might be able to watch it. You have to pay to watch it probably on YouTube.
Where?
If maybe where you have to
Uh huh.
pay to watch,
Uh huh. Uh
you
huh.
have to pay to watch it.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah,
See, I don't want that.
right. And it's something that should be on constant play on Netflix or some
It
of these
should be
other
on your
things.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be playing on your channel. It's really the truth.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Why this is not the case? Maybe I should ask. Maybe I should ask him. What they call it? That part is called rattling the cage. You ever know? You know that
Yeah.
you rattle the cage. What that means is you shake the cage enough, and
Uh-huh.
whatever's in it,
Uh-huh.
whatever's in it, it just shakes them up, and they're like, okay,
Uh-huh.
okay, okay.
So you still have contact with these producers?
Yes.
You still have contact, and had they given you any answers?
Nobody's contacted me. I would have assumed somebody would have contacted me
Uh-huh.
in all these years.
Uh-huh. How much is that
Nobody.
film worth to buy the rights?
I don't know, but I could find out. I could find
See,
out.
I've heard this story so many times, Troy,
Tell
from
me.
people I met
Tell
that
me.
made films and they sold their rights and they regret it because the films get buried somewhere and they can't even show it in their own country because they don't have the rights to it.
Yeah, you see that?
Right? And so it basically it lacks attention. Nobody gives these films attention because
That's correct.
to somebody else it's nothing to them.
That's right.
It's just it's another file number,
That's right.
right? But to people like me and you who created it and you want to share it, right? It's like a piece of art.
Yes.
You can't even share it. You
It
can't.
it it
I
it'll inspire people. It'll inspire people to make more science fiction.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I have friends. I have a couple friends here in Edmonton. They made a movie, and I
Mhm.
asked them, "Well, can I see it?" He's like, "No, you can't see it." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't have the rights." Who has his right? It's this company somewhere in the UK, but they went out of business. Somebody else took it. Now they went out of business, and I can't hunt it down.
And that's so funny because that's the same story that I hear with films where they'll say that well, it's with these people, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, make sure they send us. As you may have seen with our notification,
Uh-huh.
what we tell people is if you've made your film, right? You
Yeah.
made your film.
Yeah.
Um, you should, and they'll tell us, well, we don't want to be part of the virtual festival because we're selling the film, and I'm like, well, why did you come to a film festival? Well, we
You
wanted
know.
people to see the film. Well,
Yeah.
if you sell it to a distributor and the distributor says you can't put this, and let's say it's a really good film, winning awards, and I say, okay, well, it's only been in 2 or 3 festivals. It's only been in festivals for 3 months, and you take it out of the festival circuit to put it on somebody's channel. Yeah, and the distributor cancels the arrangement. You can't show that film anymore. You were going to show it, but you can't now because they sold the film. So they've withdrawn it from the festival. And you. So is anybody going to really watch your film?
You know what the other problem I have here is Troy
Tell me.
is to these people that say no to your virtual festival. I would like to see what their time ends up like. Like,
Well,
do they
that's
actually get
trackable. We have all the metrics on that. We
right?
have the
Like, so
metrics for
do
all of that.
right. So do they actually end up somewhere, or they end up with nowhere? Meaning, like they lost their only chance and opportunity to showcase their movie.
Yeah, I could tell you this. I don't know if there'll be enough time, but I just might be able to deliver a report on that.
Yeah, because the way I see it, my comment is, I may never get asked again. I can't assume that there's gonna be a bunch of other people gonna say, "Hey, Dave, we want you on Netflix. We want you on Prime. We want you on this and that." Right? This could be my only opportunity. It'd be
It
foolish
will
for
be
me
your
to
only opportunity.
right, and it would
In
be
most
it would
cases,
be
it will be.
and it would be foolish for me to say no, and then I end up nowhere. It doesn't
No,
make
but
any
this,
sense to me.
but the way you negotiate something like that is you want to say, well, first of all, if it's Netflix, that's a different beast than if it's a Tubi, okay, or Pluto. They're not going to pay you what Netflix will pay you for your film. So, but Netflix is not going to pay you all that you paid for your film. I,
Yeah,
yeah, that's not going
and
to happen.
Yeah, and
But but
I don't want to be
but
foolish and say that they're gonna offer me. Yeah.
but do you want to give away your rights for 10 years?
No.
They're not going to show the film for 10 years.
Yeah.
They pull a lot of films down that are really good films, and those deals are done. When
Why
I
do
was
they
on
do that?
Netflix, I don't know their exact reasons. I can only assume it's because it doesn't make enough money for them. There are people that need to have enough money for their demands. So if you want to pay them $1,000, but they say no, I want $10,000. If you don't pay enough, they're not interested in that.
Have you ever heard of Angel Studios?
Probably.
They didn't make, but they released a film called The Sound of Freedom. It was about child trafficking,
Okay.
but and Angel Studios is basically an outsider distribution option because they, I guess, they don't, get along or go along with the industry.
Okay.
Anyway, so they actually have a festival on Film Freeway, but it's some sort of funneling system so that they can get movies, so they can give you a deal, right? It's not real. It's not really a true festival. It even states that.
Right. Do you know
I'm
what the
just
name of the
curious.
festival is?
It's called Angel Studios.
No, the festival.
Yeah, the festival
Oh,
is
the
named
festival's
after the
called
series.
Angel Studios.
Yes,
I haven't heard of
and
that.
the studio is also called Angel Studios. And
Okay.
so right now they have a movie in the theaters called Homestead, right?
So what
And
about it?
it's well,
What do you
they state that they give you the best deal, better than any industry for their distribution deal, better than Netflix, better than anything. That's what they state.
well, they can say whatever they want, but remember it has to do with the proof in the pudding.
Yeah,
I don't know what those deals are, what they look like, but
me neither.
they're also, from what it looked like, they specialize in certain types of films.
Yeah,
They're not going
positive
to do any
movies.
film.
No, they like positive movies. They're not poor.
Yeah.
They lean towards faith-based movies.
Of total different. That's a very that's an audience that will pay.
Will it?
That's an audience that will pay.
Interesting.
The church industry spends a lot of money, man.
Interesting.
Big. It's the funny. It's nonprofit, but it's quite profitable. Just like the NFL, nonprofit,
Right.
but quite profitable.
The NFL is nonprofit, really?
Hmm.
That's ridiculous. That is
Come on, man. It's the
ridiculous.
greatest place in America. It's called America. Come on.
My goodness.
Oh, boy. Hi, Gnu. How are you, Gnu? Gnu's looking at us. Yeah. So, did you have one more? Can we entertain one more question? Because we're breaking into 2 hours now.
Yeah, yeah. I can entertain a question. You want me to answer questions that you wrote there? Or you want to take questions? I don't know.
Oh, you want to give me a question? You could give me
Oh
a
yeah,
question.
I want to give you a
I can't
question.
answer everything though.
It's a good question.
Gnu says, "Hi, hello, sir. Good to see you live. Good to see you too, Gnu. How are you?"
I I am absolutely serious about making that Star Trek documentary about you making a Star Trek fan fiction movie. What do you think about that, Troy?
So let's see here. You're making it difficult here. Hold on.
Like
I
what?
told you,
How much
I'm
money? How much money do you need to make a movie?
I can't determine that. I have to ask those studios because those studios are typically fully set up. James Corley, I'm sure he does not do that anymore, which is sad because he had everything. They've got everything to do. Okay,
Okay,
but
okay,
but they
okay. Let's go. Let's go back to the first question.
yep.
Let's say, do you want to make a Star Trek fan fiction movie, and I make a documentary about you doing that, or do you want to make a Star Trek fan fiction movie together, me and you? What do you prefer? What do you like?
Once again, let's see. Well, first of all, I would want to know if we make a movie about making the Star Trek, can we sell that? Can we make money off of that?
I I think you
That's
can
what
make
I.
so
That's
so yeah
I'd want to verify that first if
yeah.
I go that route because I don't want to do it for free.
This is
Um,
my take.
yeah.
Okay, this is my take. My take is you can make money on anything as long as it's good. It has to be good.
No,
It
no,
has to
no,
be.
no, no. You can't make money on those fan films. You cannot. You'll go to jail. You won't go to jail, but you'll be sued to into oblivion. And the thing is that
Oh, I didn't know that.
I yeah
I didn't know that.
my
Explain that
point
to me.
is
Explain
because
that
you
to
don't
me.
own the rights to the content.
Okay. So we're
So
making movies strictly as a fan for fun. We can't make any
yeah,
money
all of
off
those
it.
fan films are for fun, man. They're for
Oh,
fun.
okay. So what
Okay,
about all the views that they get?
it's
Who
all for
makes money
fun.
off that? Who
They
get makes
no,
money off?
they don't make money off of them.
Oh,
They
okay.
can't be monetized. And if they are monetized, you're not getting that money. The
Right.
copyright holder gets that money.
Right.
Okay. But like I said, um,
Then I say that's not possible for us, for me anyway.
there
That
you
I,
go. You see?
then
You
I'd
see?
have
You
to do
see?
documentary
Yeah, you see.
on you.
So
Yeah.
if the doc making the fan film, if someone's making the fan film, can that be monetized?
I don't know.
Right. So let me give an example. You make you have equipment and you go to Comic Con and you interview all of those people at Comic Con and you monetize your video. I think that's legit. I think I'd have to confirm. I don't really know, but I think that's legit, right? So, is that really the case, right? So if you can do that, then and it can be monetized. The reason why I want it to be monetized is not that I'm greedy. It's not saying that I'm greedy. I want to be able to pay the people
Yeah,
that help make the film,
for sure. Well, it
and that's
costs
why
money.
and that's why
It costs money.
that
We're
yeah, that's why I
okay.
want it to be monetized because
Yeah,
those
yeah,
people, you got to give them something. So
yeah.
when I made my films, everybody was paid something. And the funny thing is, we paid our actors more than what the actors got paid at these big budget houses.
Really?
We're paying people a rate of either $20 or $25 an hour. They didn't
Uh
get
huh.
that.
Uh huh.
And we tell them to come in for, 3 hours, give them 60 to $100.
Uh huh.
Secondary role, you got $60. Primary role, you got $100 for the day.
Uh huh.
That's it.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
They got to get something. And I'll never forget. I will never, ever, ever forget Mr. Scott Opelia, who made the soundtrack for Planet X. And we hardly got any money, but I did everything I could to build the architecture for if the film did monetize, money would come in. And I remember we put the soundtrack up and people were listening to it on the internet radio stations or buying it, and a check came in. I gave him his portion of what we had a contract for, and I'll never forget it because he put it up on the internet. This is a guy who could play. He could play all of the top rock, whatever songs with his guitar. He was a master at. He taught people how to do this. Okay, and he put this statement up on Facebook or whatever it was that this is the first time he was ever paid for doing his music. I was like, what?
You know,
It
that's
wasn't a
just
lot of money
true.
either.
Yeah, honestly, Troy, you're speaking the truth. That's
Okay.
that's that's what all the people that I meet are like that. They're shocked when they get some money. They're just doing it because they love doing it. That's what they're here for, and it's sad to hear, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's sad to hear because here's the bottom line on that. Okay, here's the bottom line. So, and I can say this because this is my 12th year doing this, and 10 years prior to that, I was also making movies. Okay, and I made the first sci-fi movie in South Florida, and I was at both sides of that spectrum where we didn't have any money, then we made movies with the money we had, and then the films we made actually could make money, and there were issues about making money. Okay, it made no sense, no sense to us, no sense to me. Okay, um, so whenever I hear people spending years making their films, the problem I have with that is the time that you made that one film. If you had your shit together, you might have been able to make three of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I.
if you made
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
there's a good chance you'd have made something that would keep those wonderful people that helped you make the first one
Yeah.
going. Because a lot
Yeah.
of times they make these films and it's like, this is amazing. And they can't do it again. They can't do it again. And the worst part is they do sell their film, and the money that they get for the film is not enough to pay for the film, not enough to pay the people that did it for free.
Yep.
And if they hear
Yep.
you made $5 on that film and they didn't
Yep.
get $1,
Yeah.
you're in trouble, buddy.
Yeah.
Your
Those are
karma's
the.
all jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Are those the petty people that you were talking about earlier?
No, the petty people are way beyond all of that. But I've been in
No.
that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which I bring up in Journey to Planet X. Okay, I
Yeah.
mentioned this in Journey to Planet X.
Uh huh.
Before we did Journey to Planet X,
Uh
we
huh.
actually took a hiatus between science fiction films,
Uh huh.
and we helped someone else make their film. We took our KSAs, our knowledge, skills, and abilities, to help someone else make their film, right? But but that's not the right way to put it. What we did is that we helped a writer make a film. There's a difference. Okay, there's a big difference.
What's the difference?
The writer doesn't know how to make a film.
Right.
They don't know how to write. And
Right.
most writers are not allowed on the set because they go
I.
crazy and lose their mind because you're changing what they wrote because we need to make this work for the people who are going to watch
Man, they told me this after my movie was made because my writer was my cinematographer,
it.
and it's very difficult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in that case, right, I put together, I want to say, my God, there must have been 20. And for newbies at the time, that's a big crew. We had, a bunch of cars, 15 cars or whatever, pull up and start shooting cameras, equipment, people, PAs, all of this stuff. Beautiful locations. We had 3/4 of that movie shot. And it was fighting and backstabbing and backbiting and just people that had started hating each other. It was uncontrollable. And I'm fighting with you. I'm like,
I,
guys, y'all need to get along.
Troy,
Y'all have to stop this. And the film was never. It didn't get finished.
I want to tell all the audience, I know exactly what you're talking about, Troy.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
went through the same
yes,
thing. Ugh.
yes, yes,
It is
yes,
so frustrating sometimes, man.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
any filmmaker that's made a movie, they understand what you just said, and I understand you, and I don't understand this traumatic experience why it has to be like that.
And that's why they're contracts. That's why
Yeah,
they're contracts to
yeah,
prevent too much of it from going out of hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and for the person who's in charge to
Yeah.
really be in charge, like what's homeboy's name? Tom Cruise,
Right.
right? During the pandemic, they made that film, and he went ape. He went crazy because the people were going out of protocol, and if somebody got sick, it would shut the production down, and that would result in $100 something million loss. Unacceptable. So so you have to have a hierarchy. In order to have a hierarchy, you have to have your contracts right. And that's one of the things I did with Planet X. I made sure we had contracts. And I hired an attorney, Claude Pierre from Miami, Florida. Claude knew his stuff on entertainment law,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he helped put together a bunch of contracts for me that was
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah. No, I agree. You need contracts because yeah, it's you can't escape a contract. You can't argue with a contract, and unfortunately, some people want to renegotiate when they think that there's something good.
Yeah,
As soon as they think there's something good, they're like, "Oh no, I can get more money."
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's nuts. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so of course, it's inevitable that I'm gonna make another sci-fi,
Yeah.
whether it be a short or a feature or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's inevitable. It's bound to happen sooner than later. I don't know, but at
Well,
the end of
then
the
I want you to give me a 6 months heads up because I would be interested in making a documentary about you making a movie because I think you are so entertaining. You are the story, right? Some people are the story,
yeah,
right?
no, I
And
appreciate that. It's very kind to say.
you know, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for magic. Like
Right.
when you make a movie, it's about creating magic, something
Yeah,
that's
it is.
very difficult
It is.
to describe, but you know when you see it. You know.
Yeah. No, no, you're right about that. And so it's it's a funny situation
Yeah,
with
and the
film.
whole thing, you mentioned earlier that you make a good movie once and you can't repeat it. That's entirely possible, man. Because like I just said, and you kind of touched on it. It has something to do with magic, and how do you get this magic? I don't really know. I kind of know, but I don't really know. I can't put in a book and give it to you, and I can't write it down procedures. But
Right.
I know if I see it,
Right.
and can't, am I able to recreate it? I don't
Right.
know. It's
Right.
difficult to say.
I want to say the way to do that. Okay, the way to do that is to produce different types of films. And what that means is, you create one type of film, your next film has to be a little different than that. Don't get me wrong, it's great to make a part two. If you got a great movie, yeah, there's nothing wrong with making a part two. I think that's highly important. It's very important to make that part two. Okay, if you don't make that part two, you could be missing out on the real benefit of the film. If you're intending to make money. But if you don't have that, it's a good film, but there's no way to make a part two. A lot of stories, the story's over, it's done. That's it. Okay. So the next has got to be something different because you can't do a part two. You can't do whatever. Okay. So you when you make that next one, so if you started out with for example, don't want to talk too much about myself, but I have to. With longevity. Longevity was a spy thriller, a sci-fi spy thriller, set several years after 9/11, or what America would be like, what the world would be like. It was pretty true. It's almost everything in the films come to pass. But what we shot after that were a series of other shorts that were very different from each other, but we were kind of mixing and moving and trying to figure out what to do. And it was a 3-year hiatus. But when we started making that next film, really, we put money into that to make it. Cast people, made costumes, everything original that we could. That was a pure sci-fi that was in space, nowhere on Earth. Totally different. Totally different. Total different type of sci-fi. First one was shot on the campuses of South Florida. Okay, at University of Miami. That movie was shot at University of Miami at night when people were scared to death of what happened in 9/11. That's when Longevity was shot. Planet X was shot in a studio, and it was shot entirely in the studio except for the freezer scene, which is also indoors, and except for the moon scene, which we were in a
Yeah,
quarry.
I like your idea of shooting at night. Tell me why you decided to shoot at night.
Because at night you can't see all the fakery.
Right, right. That's and honestly, I didn't know that was a trick. I didn't know
Yeah,
that that's what like Ridley Scott did on Blade Runner, and like I've seen interviews with him where he said, yeah, we have to shoot at night because if you did daytime, you can see everything. And the other thing he did was the smoke, right? And so if you watch Blade Runner, it's all night. I never knew that. That's how good that movie was. It never
that's right.
occurred to me there was no
That's
daytime,
right.
right?
That's
I
right.
just thought that was just the world that they lived in. I had no
Right.
idea.
Right.
But
And
I,
a
I
lot
find
of
that very
and a lot of science fiction, it's dark. And if you've heard me say this previously, like in Baltimore, I said that you gotta, it has to be dark when we show these films because half of them, it's dark
yeah,
for whatever those reasons, but it's dark,
yeah,
and a lot of it is to hide the stuff that they don't want you to see.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But see, the magic here is from the filmmaker's perspective is we're trying to hide stuff. From the audience perspective, it's like, wow, this is a cool movie. It's
Right,
dark. I can't see anything.
right,
So
right, right,
I think that's genius, and that's the if I can get a message across to any filmmaker, that's filmmaking at its
right,
best.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
So, can we show a couple trailers?
Yeah,
I want to show a couple other trailers.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I want to show this one here. This is Escape Attempt. Ah, man, this looks really good. Hold on, here we go.
Hi, can I help you? This is Mr. Saul Repnin. He's a historian, 20th century.
I just need an escape.
What planet are you looking to go to?
One that humans haven't visited yet.
There are plenty of yellow dwarf planets with Earth-like conditions.
You could drop me off?
Yeah.
Our trip's getting really romantic now.
He's strange.
You can't really escape human nature.
I'm done with human nature and people.
This is your planet. She's a beauty. Lots of oxygen, no harmful gases, no carbon dioxide.
Let's name her Sawler. He wants to be the first to set foot on his planet.
Great! We're spinning around.
Touch the controls and I am leaving you. We've got no use for weapons here, my friend.
That one?
Stay away from this one. Welcome to Saula. First death. Several days ago. We should conduct a search. There could be survivors.
I don't understand. Where are the search parties?
We're part of the machine. It's teleportation.
Don't do anything stupid.
You're afraid.
Of course I'm afraid. I'm afraid for your sake. Oh my God.
They're afraid of us.
I'm amazed. You don't even try to understand what's going on.
There must be a village nearby. We'll find someone we can talk to.
See how well we understand each other?
We come in peace.
Saul! All we know now is that people need help.
How many people are in the shacks? Criminals. What are the criminals doing here? Talk! Criminals make the machines move. Why don't the criminals run? The smart ones don't run. begins.
Wow. Is that a movie?
Yeah, that's one of the trailers in the film.
And is that movie playing at my sci-fi?
Yes, yes.
Wow. 'Cause that looks like really high quality.
Yeah, it
Really
is.
high.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And those guys, that's Alex and what's Alex buddy's name? But it's two guys who run an ad agency. Okay,
Right.
they run an
Yeah.
ad agency, so they make commercials. They know how to
Right.
do this stuff.
Right.
How to practice.
Right.
And the story is from some brothers called the Strugazzi brothers that were from the Soviet Union. And so it's a 1960s story.
So
1960s
did you
story.
watch this movie?
Of course, how do you think I got in the festival? Gotta watch the films, man.
I know. I gotta confirm these things though. I've
But
heard
would you
these.
believe? Here's the bizarre part.
Uh-huh.
That's only a short film.
What? That's not a movie?
It's a short. It's that freaking good. Okay? Okay?
And
Okay?
how long is that?
That movie is mm, 20, 28 minutes long. It's 28 minutes long. And it's I have a program called Mars Needs Women. That's my program. I took that name off this year because I want to see what happens to it. But my program where I only put in the films that a short block of films that I like. This is my selection. Everybody else does their own thing, and so that's one of the films that's in it. And here's another film that's in it. That's close to. It's in one of the blocks. This one here.
These are extraordinary times, and we face an extraordinary challenge. The dramatic achievements in space which occurred in recent weeks should have made clear to us all the impact of this adventure on the minds of men everywhere who are attempting to make a determination of which road they should take. I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
Is that a movie?
It's an Oscar finalist. Yes.
Yeah, I was just like, wait a minute. These films are like really good. Like they're
Yeah, I told you it's the most competitive. Listen, man, I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, that film has made the Oscar qualifier. I'm sorry, it's an Oscar finalist.
Mhm.
Finalist means it's ready to be nominated.
Wait, but
Okay,
is it a short film or a movie?
it's a short film, another short.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a short which I call a docudrama. Right.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
yes, it's not told like a traditional documentary. It's told
Right.
like a drama.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
almost like For All Mankind. It's a
Right.
lot like that, and it's shot with
Right.
those really good lenses, the amorphic lenses,
Yeah.
and anamorphic lenses.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
the mere fact that by the time we show it at MiSciFi, it may be nominated for a film.
Yeah. That quality is
For an
very
award.
good. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes. Yes. Now I'm going to show you something. Here's another one here.
Avete chondaro chondari afuera. Coñan de rumba ella, pero ya voy. Tentare, Pegou assado? Vai assar o assar o pinto. Não é meu tentão.
Aja lupa mak gua perawat ke.
Kumain air memang air memang.
That was interesting, man.
Okay, now this
That was
one
really,
also blows my mind away
yeah, yeah.
because this is a film made by an indigenous tribe in Brazil. The indigenous tribe in Brazil makes this story about the apocalypse happens and they're coming into the cities to see what happened. What happened to civilization? What happened to humanity?
See, that film is a real film. Honestly, that's the whole reason I'm making films, man. Like, because you have some sort of story that is so odd, that is so special, it's so unique. There is no way of telling it other than some sort of visual film experience, right? Like, if I told you that story, it wouldn't do it justice. But when I see those pictures in there, I already have an impression. It's already
Yeah,
made an impression on me,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's a special film. I
We're
like it.
very, MiSiFi, we are very honored to receive this production.
So
This
is
is
that
so
one
rare.
a movie or is that a short?
It's a short.
It's another
It's a
short.
short.
Okay,
It's
well,
another
I'm
short.
thankful they're not competing with me. I'm very thankful,
Okay.
because
Okay.
yeah, those are extremely high quality movies.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. We have some
Yeah,
really, really good stuff. So
yeah.
let me show you. Let me show you. One more here.
Hmm. See, I'm thinking about that one. I'm not sure about that one,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why.
Tell me. Tell me. Tell me.
All right. Well, that is a dark movie. I can tell
Yeah.
that, but
Yes.
it it doesn't make any sense why they played classical music with the dark movie. The reason being is classical music is actually very good for your soul. And we've had this conversation before with me and you,
Yes.
where certain music has a frequency on it. And so I'm assuming that the director knows that classical music is actually good for your soul. And so why did he choose to put that with a dark movie? Most of the time when people make dark movies, um, they have some sort of interest in this whole darkness bit. They have no interest in classical music, man. Like zero, nada. And that choice for that bit is a contradiction somewhere, and it's
Yes.
possible.
I don't want
And
to give
there,
it away, but
okay, never mind.
yes. I'm not going to give it away. All I'll
Yeah,
tell you is that we're honored to receive a film, in my opinion, from a growing filmmaker who's bold enough to make science fiction, who's bold enough to make a movie about a pandemic from China.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Um, and so it's a crime drama about that.
yeah,
Very powerful
yeah. And
and
China's very confusing, eh? Like,
confusing.
yeah, it's very confusing, man. You want to hear why I think it's confusing?
Why do you think it's confusing?
Okay, okay. Uh, on one side, like, there's China has some sort of pyramid government where it's like this man that sits on the top. He makes all the decisions. It's filtered down to the people. It's not like a democracy, right? It's not like United States. And so somewhere over there wants mm, quality movies, good movies, same movies that the West can make. We want to prove
Right.
that Chinese can do it just as good as the Americans. So we want to make a shitload of movies, right?
Right.
Make a bunch of money.
Right.
And so they do this and they have some sort of industry, but they also have some sort of weird thing where, like, you can't make a certain type of movie. You can't speak about a certain thing.
Right.
And if you want to open and have a movie festival, we'll think about. Well, maybe we'll give you like 10 festivals total for the entire China.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's not
Right.
that many festivals in China because we really want to control it, right?
Right.
And so, as a filmmaker in China, if I was Chinese, I live and die by freedom, man. Like, honestly, I'm a filmmaker. I'm an artist. I live and die by freedom. It's very difficult for me to be contained in some sort of thing, and I have to abide by all these rules. But yet I have to, and then so I make a product that kind of abides by all these rules. But in my heart, in reality, the purity of me is I'm an artist. I just want to speak
Right.
my mind,
Right.
right? And so that's why I'm saying it's confusing. So what do you get? You get these movies that are kind of like good, maybe bad, trying to be good under certain type of rules. I don't know. I really don't
Absolutely.
know.
Well, hear me out here. Hear me out here. Um, First of all, I didn't say all those things. But
I'm Asian, that's why.
but um, I have to say this that one thing is the state, meaning the government, has endorsed science fiction. They fully
Yeah,
endorse science
yeah,
fiction.
yes,
They
yes,
want to see it. The second
yes.
thing is, yes, they have a great filter. They observe what comes out, and if it's detrimental to their mission, no, no, no. All right, interview time. Okay. Um, but they, I can tell you right now, MiSciFi gets a lot of their science fiction.
Yeah, and yeah,
They
and
get a
that
lot of their science fiction,
Troy,
and
that whole science fiction thing is confusing to me because if I was a pyramid system ruler over in China, it doesn't make any sense for me to promote science fiction, man.
no, but if you're a ruler that likes science fiction for whatever those reasons are, I don't know what they are, but
I
somebody
don't
over
either.
there likes it.
Yeah, I don't.
1 second.
Hello.
Well, as it's wrapping up here.
Okay.
Gonna have to run. So we'll continue that.
Yeah.
And we can't really go diving deep because we don't have all the answers. But I could only tell you that I know they like sci-fi, and I appreciate the science fiction that they send to MiSciFi, um, because much of it is good, and we're very grateful for that, to have those opinions and content. All right,
Well, my comment is it's a
that's fine.
positive move because I still remember the China from the '80s. The China from the '80s was you got nothing. You actually got zero.
Right,
So you'd be
right,
lucky to even get a movie.
right,
And
right.
so this is all positive to me.
Yeah,
It's all
I think
positive.
so. I
You
think
know,
so.
they're giving the people at least a chance in a way to make a movie, and we can
Yep.
see the products and the thoughts of other people and perceptions. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
it's a positive thing. Yeah,
right.
it's nice to see.
Yep, I think so. I think so. I also think so. It's all positive, and we have 20 of the 100. I think it's 106 films we have this year, and
Yeah,
of the 106 films, we're talking they're from 25 different countries.
that's great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah,
I think that's great. I want to see diversity. I want to see everything, good, bad. You know, it's nice to see what are people's mind. I like
hmm
purity. If you're strange and weird, be strange and weird. Put it on the screen. You know what I mean? It's sometimes it's funny. I find it very entertaining sometimes.
yeah,
So that's great.
yeah, yeah. So that's where it is right now. And thanks so much, Dave. I really appreciate you coming on and us spending time here. We spent a little over 2 hours together. It's highly appreciative. And
Thank you.
I
I
look
enjoyed
forward to
myself.
seeing you. And I thank you. And I look forward to
Yeah,
seeing you in Miami.
yeah.
We'll have a
Make
good
sure you have
time.
a uniform for me.
I will bring the uniform.
I ordered one, but still not here yet.
You ordered a uniform?
Yeah, from Etsy. Those do-it-yourself people that sell stuff on Etsy.
Yeah.
So they're making it for me, but I don't know when it's coming. It's taking forever, and it wasn't cheap. Exactly what you said. It wasn't cheap.
What? It was a TOS uniform?
It was a 2S uniform on Etsy where somebody is sewing it. They're making it.
No kidding.
Yeah. The
I'm
the
looking
other
now.
option the other option was you buy it like from Amazon, which is one of those cheap costume $20 thing, and I didn't want that.
So if you could send me the link,
Yeah,
I'm curious to know who's making them because I'll buy more.
sure. There's two of them. There's two people making them on Etsy. They make the gold one, and I'll send it to you.
I'm curious. I'm looking now online. Oh, oh. What? I see it right here. Captain.
Yeah, I think I paid
Hold on.
$200, maybe. I'm not quite
This is
sure.
a replica.
Yeah, replica. Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, it's hand stitched.
Yeah, just a better quality, like a nicer material.
No, this is
You know.
I don't know. It's good quality. It's not the identical, but it's good quality. I'm seeing it here. Oh wow.
Well, that means you want me to wear it.
Yeah, of course. It's coming from the Netherlands, so you would have to pay extra from this. Yeah, you should wear it because we do the cosplay stuff. So we say yes, absolutely. I see. I think those are sales. But yeah, this person they design and make them. I'm surprised that's all they make. But that's it, man. We're done.
Maybe that guy's a star seed.
Thanks so much, Dave.
All right, I'll see you later. Have a
See you
good day.
again. Bye for
Have
now.
a positive day. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye now. Okay, everybody, that is it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a couple hours or days, whatever. That's it.